welcome to the SMEDIA Information Evening. I'm William McCartney, the station manager of Belfield FM, and I just thought it would be great to bring you all together and give you just a little bit of information that you might need for the upcoming SMEDIA applications. So entries are opening today. I did check on my computer there and they're not up yet, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a little bit of delay because of the weather, maybe the company Generation Y that runs that aren't in the offices or whatever. But maybe in around 5 p.m. it will open up. If not, I'm sure it will be open tomorrow or sometime over the weekend. And these online applications, you can go on smedias.ie, but it will just redirect you to oxygen.ie anyway. So you can go on there. There's a bunch of information. A lot of what I'm going to be saying is based off there anyway, if you want to read up yourself. There's a big list of rules and that sort of stuff and little breakdowns of each category. Now the first thing to say is entries for this media are €15 per category and then €10 per additional category you enter. But we're going to waiver all those costs as Belfield FM, so we'll pay for your application fee. The one thing you just need to make sure of doing is when you're doing the application online on oxygen.ie, at the end when you're selecting how to pay, do select pay by postal order / cash. And then we'll go down at the end of the week. Applications end on the 15th of March at 5 p.m. by the way, do remember that, 15th of March. We'll pay then pay by check or cash or whatever they think is most agreeable. The other thing to bear in mind, while it is €15 per category and then €10 per additional category, for the vast majority of shows, at least to my knowledge, you only really apply for one category. So if you're going for arts and culture, there isn't really much point in going for DJ of the year, because though they seem like they overlap, they are quite different categories, and you probably wouldn't be entering both unless you've done two different shows and you want to enter both of them. The other thing to bear in mind is with radio shows, how you submit your file is you can either upload it directly on the application form, and they have this weird thing where they say if it's a private file you need to provide the password that it's locked behind. I don't really think that applies to most people, but alternatively, if you have your podcast uploaded on SoundCloud or on Mixcloud, they're the only two platforms they'll accept, you can just provide them with a link to one of those. So that's important there. And yeah, the submitted shows must be no more than an hour long, and it can either be one individual episode or a compilation or a montage of clips from previous episodes, sort of a highlight reel, whatever you think best demonstrates the talent of the show. What some people like to do around this time of the year is record one show with the SMEDIAs in mind, like put a bit more prep than usual into it, or maybe make the show a little bit more, what's the word I'm thinking of? It embodies itself a bit more,
Like it would be like a substantial episode to represent the show.
Yeah, so not like a special episode where you've got some gimmick for the week, but one episode that just completely conveys the concept of your show overall, because it gives the judges a better impression of what it is you're trying to accomplish. But obviously that depends on what category you're entering and that sort of stuff. If you are doing a news category, it might be more interesting if there's like some big thing, like a snowstorm or something, which probably wouldn't be very exciting to cover because all you talk about is bread. Ha 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 ha. What else? Oh yeah, also, if your show is a collaborative effort, so if it's not just you that's producing it, if there's a team of you that's contributing to it every week, please do the group application so that you all get the award rather than it being given just to one of you. So yeah, keep that in mind. There's like two different separate applications you can do. It just means that you're filling out more details. So just more names, more student numbers. Also, when you do the application, they might ask you to provide proof of being a student in college. You have to be full-time, but I think that's only like a follow-up thing, so don't worry about it. Usually they just ask for your student number, and that's more than enough. So then the only thing really to go through then is the categories. The first two I want to talk about are Radio Journalist of the Year and Best Radio Documentary. To the best of my knowledge, no shows that we currently have on Belfield FM apply to that. Obviously, the journalism one is up for interpretation, but that's really people that are doing reporting and investigative journalism and that sort of stuff. And while I don't have a comprehensive knowledge of every show on the station, I don't necessarily think that applies to anyone, so we can just move on past that. And the same applies to radio documentary. Radio documentaries are usually one-off productions. I know Ollie is working on one himself, but that's separate from college. One other thing that's important to bear in mind is everything that's submitted needs to be created with the intent of being broadcast on student radio. So really it's only the shows you're doing with us. If you have your own side project, then that doesn't really apply. So just do bear that in mind. So then the main categories I want to talk about is first Radio DJ of the Year / Radio DJs of the Year. This is pretty much the music show category. Last year we didn't really get that, and we were like, oh, it's just the best host. No, it's essentially the best show in terms of curation of music and how interesting it is. So music shows usually go from about 10% talk, 90% music to in around 60% music, 40% talk. So obviously if you do have like an interview element or a chat element or even like a magazine element there, that's still fine, but music does need to be the primary focus of the show. So there's a bunch of you that applies to, so if you feel like your show is something that is media worthy, do submit it. In terms of preferences of the panel, I can't remember exactly who won it last year, but I know we did have a couple of nominations ourselves. We had Daniel McGettrick with The Vinyl Groove, which sort of went over a specific artist each week or a specific movement. We'd Ollie with Tunisia, it's techno music, more or less. I don't get it, so I'm sure there's more details. Not that I don't get the show, I'm not into that kind of music. Oh, and Sean Butler with Sounds from a Green Room, which focuses specifically on the best of Irish music, which obviously seems like the kind of thing that the SMEDIAs would be big up for, but really at the end of the day, it is the person that they're looking at. So having like a good structure overall to your show and being able to present the music well in a cohesive, almost like narrative structure, and having good flow between the songs, obviously that's going to be very important to the entire thing. The other category now I want to talk about is news and current affairs. This doesn't apply to a huge amount of you, but obviously news shows apply. The other thing is panel shows. I know we have a couple of those on air, so if you do talk about current events and that sort of stuff, either by yourself or with some other people in the studio, or if you take in people for interviews, those count as well. Obviously this is going to be the category for you. We're not 100% familiar with this. It's not really a classic Belfield FM thing. Surprise, surprise. A lot of the time when people do shows with us, they want to do stuff that's a little bit more personal or whatever, but I'm sure those of you on the station that do news shows, you are quite passionate, and I do know you all put in a lot of work each week. So do look at this category and that sort of stuff. Sounds like I'm really being nice to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit much.
But yeah, then finally arts and features. And arts and features is a sort of one size fits all category.
1 second ago you were being nice and now you're being like all you.
Everyone else.
Like
arts
generalists.
Arts and features is bizarre. Nell was nominated last year, and
who had
Byrne.
a really good show.
Nell had a really good show with Kristen Tierney. By God, if I know what it was about. And then, what are you?
1 second ago you were raving about shows you've never listened to in your life. And now you're like, by God, if I know what this show is about. You didn't know what those shows are about either.
Sorry. Oh, you're a bit of an actor there.
Keep going. My hands are killing me.
Okay, we're nearly done. This is pretty much the last thing. Arts and features pretty much everyone else. So that's like magazine shows, sports shows, comedy shows, even dramas that you have on the thing, cultural things. If you're talking about sociological issues, Laura, your show, that's arts and features. Or, yeah, there's a little bit of ambiguity to it in terms of, like, music shows where you use music to highlight another thing, like your show, Laura.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is just, like, email myself or someone else on the committee, and we'll talk you through the options and what we think's best for you. But, yeah, do either make a new show that you think's going to be 100% perfect and brilliant. If you're not really able to do that, because obviously midterms coming up, people have essays and that sort of stuff to hand in. An idea might be to listen back over your old shows, find out what you like. If there's no episode in particular that stands out for you, maybe there's certain elements of each
then maybe
one
you
can
shouldn't
put them
apply.
together. That's very
I
negative.
don't think you have any
so
episodes that are
negative.
good. How is that negative?
Oh yeah, well yeah. Don't force yourself to apply. Obviously, we're paying for you and everything, and while the opportunity is right there for you, it's
It's not
fine.
mandatory.
We're not going to be disappointed if you don't apply. It would be great if we finally won one this year. We had a lot of nominations last year, and that brings me to the final point really, which is the award ceremony that takes place on the 19th of April in the Aviva Stadium. Last year that was a lot of fun. We got a free pint of
Outsider.
Yeah, it was nasty. We got candy floss and popcorn.
Pictures.
Was there food?
I didn't have any food that was real.
No, we all sat at like dining
Dinner tables, but there was
was
no food. No.
So it was very good. It was a really fun event. And then we went to Zico's afterwards. I'm not sure where the afters will be this year, but it was great. Now we'll also pay for tickets for people that are going to the event. There is a discount if you do get nominated yourself. But the one thing I'll say about the event now is while last year we were able to bring a ton of people, last year we also had a bunch of nominations. So if we're not doing so well this year, it might be difficult for us to get tickets for everyone, which I know can be a bit of a shame, but that's just the way it is, I guess. There's something else I wanted to say about that. Yeah, because the SMEDIAs, obviously, they need to bring in everyone that's nominated, so they can't, like, public tickets aren't that available, and obviously we get preference because we are a station ourselves, and it's kind of like our one ball of the year or whatever. There's always the Belfield FMEs, which will be happening later in April. I think the following week.
Is there a dress code for the SMEDIAs?
I don't think there's an official dress code, but I did see some people wearing tuxedos. Last year I wore jeans and a blazer, and obviously a shirt.
Just look nice.
I look very nice. You can look up the photos online.
Yeah, but just look nice. Don't be too fancy. Just look nice.
Yeah. It's a good time. SMEDIA's going to be enjoyable. If you do have any questions, please ask me or comment them below or to the side wherever it comes up on YouTube/Facebook, depending on where you're watching this. Yeah, that's right. Cross-platform. I'm innovative. Maybe I'm going to go for a SMEDIA. Maybe I'll beat you all. Let's make this competitive. Maybe there'll be an extra Belfield FM reward for anyone that wins a SMEDIA or gets nominated. We'll see. End video.